Types of languages the town you chia. Talibimano. How to get on the Aryan spread out. The Aryan Lumuriga, no? Blumu Piampoa Water Surabo, not Piantivi Chotore Sura. Bewilers over many countries. The Nangani Miazago, Aryan Lumuriga, Blue Piantepi, Torres Rago, Peru Twigabibi. Hobby Elotovi Pimpaludilesor encourage their language. 3 years ago, they were wherever it was, Ragapavipi, wherever they went, through Pehuwe Toto Elimu, they were. But different climates and different conditions produced many differences in various groups of the Aryans. Petra Davime, different climates and different conditions. That's subject. No, Matuni Shadi Uduri, Matuni Achinivo. No, or different climates and different conditions produced many differences. In various groups of the Aryans. The Aryan also a mumuma and a quabiati imagiu pisiva. Each group went on changing in its own way with new habits and customs. Each group also Tezuzi Mabo, not the area also Tezuzia, went on changing. Sabio Pianedore. Go on the Muyenzagalon, go on the Takua, continues Retibia, Sapitavo. Went on changing the Sabio Pianedore, Bellunine Pianedore in its own way. To get Nilanebo, go by Nilan Pianedore with new habits and customs. The late tati, the late titibono, Ararine, to a celebio Pianedore. They could not meet the other groups in other countries as it was exceedingly difficult to travel about in those days. They could not meet the other groups in other countries. Druga, the Charnang any mashi, the Chalurio, Matuna. Paramatuna as it was exceedingly difficult. Exceedingly means extremely, very, long. As it was extremely difficult, exceedingly difficult, along mean kakere at Jamalu. Parabolas to travel about in those days. Eric was saying, keep our along mean kakere at Jamalu, Druga, the Tanangania, Osunele, Matrina. Drugaba now Yotoradi, the Tanangamashi area Lumuria, not Tanangamashi Lumuna Matrina, Valoza, Ekedon, Kibora, Emetan Kata. Each group was cut off from the others. Each group that the Osuduzia was cut off from the others. The Ta Osune, the Lumuquajan Kaya. Guaviania, no? At all. If the people of one country launched something new, they could not tell it to the people of another country. Okay, if rather chini to Kupera, condition to Kupera, Lemo, Papilin, the people of one country, Nangan Takua, Luriga, launched something new. This sent Kuku Lila gay. That if not Lila gay, we are not a chili bellama, Pamapina, they could not tell it to the people of another country. Duruga, the Tanangamashi, Duriu, Mapiobiana. Hello, Mapiobiana, so changes came in, and after some generations, one Aryan family became split into many. So changes came into Pialamuria, Yaulare, and after some generations, the music Chavi Nama, the one Aryan family, Aryan Midazuji, the Zuganibio, became split up into many Midazuri Miaza Pigu, Pialanari. Saron Aryan family to Kubeshirabo. Diameter Desani Lilame, Dozune Lemetriao, and a Mupita Usaria, music di Chalare Kama, Midazuji, the Zugan, Midazuri, Miai Pilarabo. Perhaps they even forgot that they all belonged to one large family. Perhaps they even forgot through a meal miwara pinanivo. By a check that they all belong to one large family. Through alunga mitazu jizuzima pawene sure a cheko mira midwara pinamani. Their one language became many languages. which seem to differ greatly from each other. They are one language through a Padazaka Takuo, Aryan Vesovazo, through a Mula Aryan Padazaka Takua, became many languages, Padazagari, Miaza Filare, Eri Osaria, which seemed to differ greatly from each other. Takuna Taku, G. Qua Chare Ponza, Bonibai. But although they seemed so different, there were many common words and similarities. Petra, although that dollars read a no, not had a charter cool, send them a go Biogen at Kamadim, although Nesalam. Although by a pine with Tijimese, although they seem so different. Turuga, along Quatani, Ponza, Bodoleve, there were many common words and similarities. The bone to need as a galoni, not to need a chedi was similarities to Dari and Miyaji Shibadi. Even now, after thousands of years, we can find these common words in different languages and can tell that once upon a time, these languages must have been one. Even now, after thousands of years, we can find these common words. In different languages. And can tell that once upon a time these languages must have been one. You know that there are many such common words in French and English. You know that that there are many such common words in French and English. English Let us examine two very homely and ordinary words like father and mother. Let us examine the necessity of two very homely and ordinary words like father and mother. Father, mother, no, in Hindi and Sanskrit, the words are as to know. Hindi and Sanskrit Peter and Mata. In Latin, they are Peter and meter. In Greek, Peter and meter. In German, Peter. And Mutter pronounced. In French, père and mère, and so on in many other languages. In Hindi and Sanskrit, Hindi Padazagane, Takara Padazagamasan, the words are Disaglonia Estino, the Miti time, Peter and Mata. Peter, Mata. Hindi and Sanskrit. Or Pali Masane, Mata, Pitu, Tulumipura, Ami, P, Tulumipure. Happy, not in Latin. Latin's Gamasana, they are Peter and meter. The Chabadas Garia or Tanto Usali, Menima Mami, Nanelli 2 days at the ball of Liver Matano. Peter and meter, Tachibari. In Greek, Peter and meter. Greek Malay, Tulumutuni. In German, Peter. That the Tulumudi Tantopara to Hindi to Yibia and mutter pronounced. Not the Dantadia, German, Dante de Hochima Home, Tiaduria, Pimio of Matavo. In French, pray and mirror. Pindelulet Tamatota, the Lumupi Metinavo, Tiaduria Pimi Matava, and so on. In many other languages, Chapa the Gari Nazaman any time at Chiba. A Memazago Nagia. The Mimi, Pipi, Trimupuramana. Diners Najirame, father, mother, sent to Manila. Now, Hindi Sanskrit Shumapare or Peter, meter, Dinele, Tuniave. Let them ask Peter, meter, Dinele, sent to me. No, at all. Do they not all seem to be very much alike? Truly, Aluma, Yan to Nielu, Yan to Manila, they be to Manila. They have a family resemblance like cousins. Resemblance or the Senturawa, adjective or the resembles another sentu dolo tebeya. They have a family resemblance like cousins. Throughout the wingwe niku maunamai lungue mitazu sentu mu shibai. Many words, of course, may be borrowed by one language from another. Many words, of course, may be borrowed by one language from another. Car, radio, TV, English Hindi has borrowed many words from English in this way, and English has borrowed some words from Hindi. Hindi has borrowed many words from English in this way. English and English has borrowed some words from Hindi. But father and mother could not have been borrowed. Father or mother could not have been borrowed. They cannot be new words. Right at the beginning, when people started talking to each other, there were, of course, father and mothers, and words must have been found for them. Right at the beginning, when people started talking to each other, there were, of course, father and mothers. I don't know, do a pin me Michigan below Mubamle. These are all she have. A pin me she says, Gasa words must have been found for them through a trap. Sakalonsra. Treat Hamave, she Hamave. Therefore, we can see that these words are not borrowed. Therefore, we can say Piru Pionai Palasa that these words are not borrowed. These are only China Haram Hobulo Piru Pionai. They must have come down from the same ancestor or the same family. They must have come down through a Sandala Piamavo. Bea Sandala are from the same ancestor or the same family. Bobe to Korea, Tamaho, Midazu to Korea, Sandala Tipali. And from this, we can find out that the people living far apart now in different countries and using different languages must have belonged once upon a time to the same big family. And from this, we can find out that the people living far apart now in different countries. The Nanga Didi Mavo, no? Kweba Chana and Nanganima, we ma Nitamia Duriga, Elo Nitamio, and using different languages. Balazaka, Kweba Chana, Balazagari, Atombu Duriga must have belonged. Once upon a time, what can I must have belonged to the same big families of Bitazu Jitizuma, Pawangera Piame. Perunales or once upon a time that the Karunga. At Oku, Kweba Chanare Nanganimani, Kweba Chanare Patazakarigo, pure video, not Tombio, or Wejima Nini Duriga. O the Chenoas and Mitazu Jitizuga Nivio, La Pipalimi. Patazakapo Migana. You will see how interesting the study of language is and what a lot it teaches us. You will see the meaning. How interesting the study of language is. And what a lot it teaches us. If we know 3 or 4 languages, it is not very difficult to learn more languages. If we know 3 or 4 languages, it is not very difficult to learn more languages. You will also see that most of us now living in different countries, far from each other long ago, were one people. You will also see that the meaning. That most of us now living in different countries, far from each other. Most of us are doing Miazugo. Below Miazu now living in different countries. Kwebia Chana and Nanganima, Aku Nini, Quebia China and Nangan look at the lesser, far from each other, the Tianetia weed it, not the Nanganet and Nangan weed it, Eddie Quebia China and Nanganima Nini, Tori and Miazuga, long ago, the Hoshi Dongaro were one people. Lumuzu, the coup Pepides to me, coup, Dualimi. We have changed greatly since then, and many of us have forgotten our old relationships. We have changed greatly since then. 18 years of Duria, a teacher, and many of us, Duria Mazuga, have forgotten our old relationships. Duria, the Sisai Haunigu, Midway, Senemu Haunigu, Midway. In every country, people imagine that they are the best and the cleverest, and the others are not as good as they are. In every country, Nanganaima, people imagine Duriga say Gujara, not Tujarabo, Blumio Tujalesa, that they are the best through Tozome and the cleverest, no, the Lema Banasume, Elumio Tujare, and the others are not as good as they are. The Charuria through law, Mato through law, Macaunu, Tuja, the Nanganaime. Umali Pome, the Englishman thinks that he and his country are the best. The Frenchman is very proud of France and everything French. The Germans and Italians think no end of their countries, and many Indians imagine that India is in many ways the greatest country in the world. The Englishman thinks that he and his country are the best. The Frenchman is very proud of France and everything French. The Frenchman is Pientegao, not Pientelumutaro, Pientenango, take your going now Pientelo Pinia along going Piente Asa, Piende Jimu, Piende Sagasatapima, Konotua, going. The Germans and Italians think no end of their countries. German Lumuri, Italy Lumuria, through a Nangon, Songsamishi tree. And many Indians imagine that India is in many ways the greatest country in the world. Many Indians, India Lumiazo imagine that I say Gutayo, that India is in many ways the greatest country in the world. India Nanga, Kababoma, a teacher's on Nangan Pite, Nilemazan, a teacher's on Nangan Pite, Lutuja. This is all conceit. Conceit Raga, Kukugo, Tentia, Bohemina, Tuitia, Lumutebeyavata. Noun kuno. This is all conceit. Direct kuno bohemia you keep by. Everybody wants to think well of himself and his country. Everybody wants to think well of himself and his country. Tu nange, tu lumio tao kaunelo tenawe. But really, there is no person who has not got some good in him and some bad. But really, there is no person who has not got some good in him and some bad. Tuma Kaunari, Makaunari, Mishu Suredumishi. Havana, Suraga Makaunari Mishu, Kaunale Mishu Suredumishi. Talubera. And in the same way, there is no country which is not partly good and partly bad. In the same way, there is no country which is not partly good and partly bad. The Zedivine Api, Kaunaru, the Zedivine Apian, Suraru, Ari, Machine Nangamishi. Sura Kaunaleshi, Sura Leshi, Dadam Kunanga, a Kaunumas and Amahuti, Makauna Leshi. The related Makua, a council, and Nimbus of 2000 Lumutamane, Tuba, Makaune, Chekli Leshi Nanabe. No? Dadamalu Nanganima, the Zedivine Api, Makaune, Kaune, Dama, the Zedivine Api, Makaune, Nangam, Mishu, and Nangamshiba. We must take the good wherever we find it and try to remove the bad wherever it may be. We must take the good to a corner of Yuam wherever we find it to treat it nearima, Kongwakli Yuamavo, and trying to remove the bad wherever it may be. Beniama, Makone Cheko Pesha would use I. Ludema Kauna Surashi, Nanganema Kauna Surashi, Duria Paloyamle, Kauna Liu, Makauna Liu Pesha. We are, of course, most concentrated our own country, India. We are of course together do most concerned with that's why our own country India do India and happily it is in a bad way today and most of our people are very poor and miserable and happily it is in a bad way today and most of our people are very poor and miserable. They have no pleasure in their lives. We have to find out how we can make them happier. We have to find out how we can make them happier. We have to see what is good in our ways and customs and try to keep it. And whatever is bad, we have to throw away. We have to see the what is good in our ways and customs. And trying to keep it. And whatever is bad, we have to throw away as Indians, we have to live in India and work for India. As Indians, we have to live in India, and work for India. But we must not forget that we belong to the larger family of the world and the people living in other countries are after all our cousins. But we must not forget that we belong to the larger family of the world. And the people living in other countries are after all our cousins. After all it would be such an excellent thing if all the people in the world were happy and contented. It would be such an excellent thing that if all the people in the world were happy and contented. We have therefore to try to make the whole world a happier place to live in. We have therefore to try to make the whole world a happier place to live in. Happy. That's a desire my party would Arians Numuriga, no, Kaba Nau, Toilet a Kama, Padazagari, now binding my Quebra a charm. Pido, Padazagari Quebra met use at the Pramauza Muyin to Kua Pide, Duriga de Kaba Yama, Blue and Nidi PC, the Gerotari Konua, Midazu Jizuzia, Sandalare Osa Pide, John Time, now Kuku, Tepido, or Poemini, Twitinia, Mumlopene. To do West Radio, Nale Tarame, Tadamlo Kawait Kulungu, Bobido Piosia Kaun and Niali Pia, Juza Tennis, check you, Matarane Mare, Anu.